Thank you for joining me. I'm here with our Deputy Leader, Jayda Fransen. Jayda is also the candidate in the Rochester and Stroud by-election, which is happening right now in Kent. The reason we're putting this video update out is primarily for our members and supporters. People have got behind this campaign in a big way. So we're giving a critical campaign update about what's going on. Basically, the Royal Mail refused to approve our election address, and they have refused to take delivery of our leaflets. They've refused to put them out. And we're the only party, Jayda's the only candidate out of 13 where the Royal Mail have turned around and said, you're not putting your leaflets out. End of. We have got them over a barrel, so to speak, legally. Now that's a fact. They are bound by law to put out the election addresses for every single candidate. And all of the email correspondence we've had from the Royal Mail, we have shown to our solicitors and to a barrister and also to a third legal firm. All three of these different sources are unanimous in saying that we have got them over a barrel legally. The problem we have now is very simple. We have either got to take this on the chin and not put our leaflets out in this election, or we have got to raise in excess of £10,000 to get this matter into the High Court as quickly as possible to get an injunction on the Royal Mail. Now, all of the legal sources we've spoken to have said you will get that injunction. That's, it's almost guaranteed, because what they are doing is illegal. But the problem is it's a civil matter, which means it must be enforced in court. It must be enforced in the High Court, which means we are going to have to hire a barrister and all of the associated legal costs. It's going to cost us £10,000 plus. One of our legal sources have said maybe as high as £20,000. Well, quite frankly, we're in the midst of an election campaign. We're in the midst of major preparations for, our campaign with days of action, leaflets, placards, everything being printed and going out, plus all the running costs. The fact of the matter is we do not possess these types of resources just to go into the High Court to force the Royal Mail to do what they should be doing in any case. So, Jayda's joining me now. The fact of the matter is we haven't got these resources. We are going to have to take this on the chin and plough ahead with our campaign. Because quite frankly, we've discussed this, and it's not worth throwing £10,000 to £20,000 at this injunction to try and achieve this victory so that we can get our leaflets out. The Royal Mail have used delaying tactics, and they've dragged this out and dragged this out and dragged this out. We would have to get those leaflets to the Royal Mail by Monday. We would also have to get them into the High Court literally on Monday. It's looking very unlikely. And would we really want to spend £10,000 to £20,000 to enforce our democratic and legal rights? Well, joining me now is the candidate, Jayda Fransen. Jayda, we've been out there campaigning. We've been out there giving out leaflets. We've held protests and days of action. We've stormed into the Conservative Party offices. Yep. We've spoken to UKIP activists. We're fully engaged in this campaign. But the Royal Mail have said you and you only are not allowed to put your leaflets out, contrary to what it states in the law.
Yeah, it's absurd. Quite frankly, what's happening here affects all of us, because this kind of decision that the Royal Mail, for some reason, think that they've got the right to take, as Paul said, we've been advised by several legal teams that this is illegal. They cannot do this. And the law is on our side in this respect, but only if we can raise the funds. And quite frankly, as Paul said, even if we had this money, is it worth trying to start this legal action now when we've got to get these leaflets to them by Monday? So this is a really significant development that's happened throughout our campaign, because this is, in effect, the end of democracy, according to the Royal Mail. When are they going to do this again? To whom are they going to do this? It's ongoing. It's not. This couldn't just end at us. This could go further to other parties. Effectively, you have an organisation that's saying we don't like the message you're trying to put across, therefore we are not going to fulfil our legal duties and deliver these leaflets. And it really is quite shocking, and it affects everyone in the UK.
Absolutely. And if we, like you said, even if we had 20 grand to throw at this, would we really want to at this late stage? would we really want to go for that? Or would we use the money, the resources that we have already for people giving donations very generously? We can use that in other areas of this election campaign. But effectively, what the Royal Mail have done is they've singled us out and they've scrapped true democratic process in this election.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're not on a level playing field with everyone else now. Everyone else is going to get 50,000 election addresses delivered personally to every single household in the Rochester and Stroud constituency.
And so they should. And so should we. We have a clear message that we want to put across, and that's why I'm standing in this by-election. And the fact that they have refused to deliver that message is, absolutely disgusting. And we've had so many people from the public that have said, we are not happy with this. We don't want to be told what message we should and shouldn't receive. If I don't like the leaflet and I don't like the message, then quite frankly, I'll make the decision as to whether to read or keep it. But I at least want to be allowed to receive it. So Paul is right. For everyone who has been so generous throughout this campaign and supported us and given donations, and we are so grateful for that. And the fact that we're now being put in a position where we may have to use the money that you've given to just enforce the law is outrageous, because you guys gave to enable us to forward the campaign, not to just facilitate a legality. So this really is something that we've mulled over, and in the interests of everybody who's given, we feel that it wouldn't be worth using all of your hard-earned money to enforce this and make the Royal Mail fulfil their legal obligations. But we do sincerely hope that this issue is looked at, and if we can take it further, we have every intention of doing so within the boundaries of what our capabilities. Obviously, if there's somebody in the UK, in Britain, or that feels that they are able to help, or even to take this issue on themselves, if they have the facility to do that, we would welcome that, because as we say, this is a decision which affects everybody's democratic right. This isn't just whether they don't like the message from this party. This affects what everybody is able to see. And do you want the Royal Mail being able to make those decisions on your behalf? That's what you have to ask yourselves.
Absolutely. And we're not standing in this by-election. It was never the intention of competing with UKIP for the patriotic vote. It was never our intention to even consider votes whatsoever in our equations. We're standing purely to highlight one issue, the mega mosque in Medway, and to use the system, use this platform by putting forward a candidate to reap lots of publicity, to cause a fuss, to get attention from different sort of sectors and sections, and it's worked, because quite frankly, we've been on every single TV channel, we've been in every single newspaper. The fact that the Royal Mail did this has given us unparalleled publicity all across the country, and quite frankly, that's why we've stood.
Yeah, I mean, they've shot themselves in the foot slightly, as Paul just said. We've discussed this, haven't we? We had a lot of media coverage, as every candidate has, and it has helped us further our message and get that across to people of Britain and to our supporters, and we have gained further support. What the Royal Mail haven't considered, or didn't consider at the time, is that this gave us, an unprecedented amount of coverage, because this issue hasn't been raised, or certainly that the media were extremely shocked that this is something that we're now having to deal with. So it's actually backfired to a certain extent. Our leaflet is online. It's available to view online. So whilst the Royal Mail feel that they may have a victory in preventing 50,000 people within the Rochester and Stroud constituency receiving and viewing our leaflet, in fact, we can tell you categorically from the stats on our Facebook and website page that this leaflet has actually been viewed by millions of people.
Exactly.
So, in a way, I don't want everyone to feel like all is lost, because, actually, they've done us a favour in a way, but we can't allow them to make these decisions and take these decisions out of our control, because that's not democracy. And as Paul said, with regards to the vote, whilst we appreciate everyone's support, we're pretty much certain that UKIP have got this in the bag, and we've been telling people the same. So, there's no issues there.
But nevertheless, we have got our final day of action next weekend, and it's going to take place in Rochester, exactly the same. Now, the left-wing sites have come out, and we've been monitoring them, and they're already coming out saying this time the gloves are off. They're going to inflict violence on Britain First. You've even been threatened to be petrol bombed by one of these left-wing warriors. And quite frankly, go ahead and do your worst, because whatever you do, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference. We will be there in Rochester because we are standing in this election. We will be marching down the town centre. We will be giving out our leaflets to the public. We will be getting our message heard. And there's no amount of Labour Party sponsored thuggery and violence that is going to deter us from taking part in our own election.
Absolutely.
And Rochester is the hometown of Charles Dickens. It's a very historic town with a huge castle that's 1,000 years old, and with the big cathedral there. It's an English town. We're the only party standing that wants to keep that English, and that is our message. And no amount of Labour thuggery or intimidation is going to stop us. And I appeal to all patriots who are watching this video now to come along next Saturday to give your support to Jayda and stand side by side as she takes on the Labour thugs and the Labour bully boys. Get yourself down to Rochester and be a part of this, because they're threatening violence. They're threatening to, block our democratic rights. And I'm telling them to get stuffed, because we are going, and that's the end of it. Come down to Rochester and give Jayda your full support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.